Draw these cute bumblebees on Procreate. I chose a light blue color and covered the whole first layer. Then I opened a new layer and I wanted to make some clouds. So instead of using clouds, I went to organics and used cotton at about 75%. I went over a little bit, and to me, they look like great clouds. Then I opened a new layer, and I went to watercolor brushes and chose a nice bright yellow, made it a little bigger, and left it at full opacity, and made one oval shape and one almost circle. They don't have to be perfect because I wanted them to look fuzzy. I stayed on the same layer. I reduced the opacity of the brush to about 70. And I went to orange. It's a very light orange, and put some of that underneath for a slight shadow effect. Then I opened up a new layer, made the brush a tiny bit bigger, and went to black. Now my first line was a little light. I wanted it to be full opacity, and I made a curved line in one direction and a curved line on another direction on the circular little bumblebee. I went to erase because I kind of went over the top and bottom a little bit, so I just got rid of those extra fuzzy looking black lines. And now let's make some eyes. Open up a new layer and use white and go to painting and round brush. The first eye will be round, so just make a circle, and that's about 30 to 40%. Size, if you want it to be a perfect circle, just touch the screen once. The second eye is more of an oval, and then I just filled them in. Now these eyes are going to stay on the same layer. Just made two ovals. Now go back to that layer of the eyes and duplicate once and duplicate again. Touch the first duplicated layer and touch alpha lock. Now go to the second duplicated layer and also put on alpha lock. Change the color to a dark gray. Go to the first duplicated layer and push fill layer, and that layer turns dark gray. Do the same for the second. Touch fill layer. Now go to the first layer again and touch that arrow, and you'll see a little box appear. Push up on the screen lightly and you'll see a very thin edge of that dark show. Go to that second layer now of the duplicated eye, go back to the arrow, and then pull that layer down. Now you have a nice area around the eyes. Now make a new layer. Go back to painting and round brush. That's about 14%, and make the pupil of his eye. First one is round, so I touched the screen, filled it in. Second one is more oval. And then I made the other two eyes also on the same layer. Now go back to the first white eye layer and touch alpha lock. Go to gray and color in a gray area right at the top of the eyes. It gives it a little bit of dimension. Then to add some highlights, I went back to painting and I used a flat brush at full opacity at pure white. By the way, if you touch twice right near the white, it instantly goes to the whitest white. So I'm changing around the sizes of these highlights. You can put them anywhere you like. I like to put some of them pure white in the black area. I like to put some in the gray, some very lightly. If you push harder, the color comes out more pigmented. If you push more lightly, you'll see that it only gives a hint of color. And I really like the way that looks in eyes because it makes it look glossy and glassy. Then I'm gonna need some thin lines. So in this case, I just went back to painting and I used the round brush again. I thought that was too thin, so I made it a little bit thicker, and I made their smiles. I also, one antenna, two antenna, made their antennae. And then I went back to watercolor brushes and I made little black fuzzy dots. You can also use cotton or clouds brushes because it does a similar effect. Now I'm going back to painting with my round brush and I'm going to choose white. Tap twice or go to your history and make a little teardrop and then another teardrop. Same on the little bumblebee. Now I'll reduce the opacity to about 40% and increase the size of the brush to 11 or 12 and fill it in. So it looks white-ish, but it's not completely white. Now I'm going to increase the opacity and reduce the size of the brush and make some little detail in those tiny little wings. Now just change the color to black, his little legs, and make his little legs and a tiny stinger on the back of each one. And that's it. You have two very cute fuzzy bumblebees. Thanks for watching and stay tuned. More very cute critters to come. Bye.